Good weekend, everybody. This is Doc Severson for the ReadySetCrypto OMNIA trade of the day for Sunday, the 26th of September. All right, starting out like we always do with Bitcoin versus the US dollar, we have a logarithmic monthly chart going on here. What we're trying to determine is what's going on with the trend. Well, the trend is still to the upside right now. However, we have this small consolidation pattern. It doesn't look small, but it is comparatively. And this could either do one of two things, actually three things. It can continue to go sideways from here as the market looks for direction. It can decide to break out to the upside. If we see this break above the recent highs from this spring, that we'll have our answer. Or the third opportunity is the price is going to drop back down towards support, and that support could come as low as about 20,000. So which way is this going to go? I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that all of YouTube knows exactly where this is going to go if you read the thumbnails from all of these YouTube reports lately. I, however, don't have a view into the future. So what I have to use is charting techniques to understand what's actually happening, instead of me trying to predict what's happening for using past data, which doesn't work. So this is what we do. And right now the monthly chart on the log scale is telling me we still have an uptrend, and this is what kept me in the game earlier this year in the pullback that we had into April, May, and June, kept me in the game of this, but right now is also keeping me from getting too bullish in this situation until we have more clarity what's going on. So now to get more clarity, what we got to do is we have to move down to the weekly chart, and we can just go ahead on the linear scale of this. The linear weekly chart shows that we're starting the polarity change back to an uptrend. However, hold the presses. We still have got to understand whether or not this guy is going to print a higher low down here and then follow up with a higher high, or what? Or is this it, right? Is this whole thing just going to be a lower high setting up on the monthly chart, rolling over and heading down to 20,000? Again, that we don't know yet. So this is why we pull up the fib retracements on here and try to understand what's going on in terms of the pullback from this impulse wave here. So from about 29,000 up to about 53,000 or so was the impulse wave. The price has been able to withstand the pullback to roughly the 61.8% retracement. Now, what I've talked about before in the past is this is kind of the line in the sand for the bulls. They've got to defend that. If we see the price pull down and start to close below that level, then more than likely what that means is that we're going to fill up the entire triangle. And that means that we're going back down to 29,000 again, and probably lower from that point. So that's definitely a level to watch for, but again, we can't pull all that much detail out of this. All we want to see is that we have some kind of a higher low. And this is what I was talking about like 2-3 weeks ago back here, saying, okay, this is great that we have this rally, but we need a higher low. We need a higher low. This is what happens when you go into an impulse wave. Higher high, got to have a higher low to anchor against. It's almost like sticking your foot in the ground and pushing off on a relay race. For every higher high, you've got to allow for a pullback for a higher low. Higher high, higher low. Higher high, lower low, lower high, lower low. This downtrend started all the way back here. Not with these big red candles. This started when we printed this lower high, as we talked about the same thing. This was a warning here when the price failed to hold the previous low and instead printed a lower low, and that almost gave a much higher probability for that lower high to set up, which is a devastating signal. And then again, we started selling off from there. Okay, so this is why we go through all this Dow theory stuff: lower highs, lower lows, higher lows, etc. Now, with about 6 hours left to go, I kind of like the look of this candle. This shows that we do have a long tail down to here. The price did come down to about 40,000, but so far has held support pretty well. And this may be, in fact, the beginning of printing that higher low. Now we go down to the daily chart. This is where we see a lot more detail. We do have a golden cross, but nobody cares. It really doesn't matter that much. Now, what have we had the last couple of days? Oh, China is not going to allow crypto at all. It's going to outlaw crypto. What a surprise. We've been looking at this for the last, 4 years of some degree of this, and it's just gotten worse and worse and worse. But look, the market's had plenty of time to discount this. This is not exactly new news. So here's what I like about this. I like the fact that the price keeps coming down to here and it keeps getting bought up around 40,000. And we're seeing that based on these daily candles, which have these long lower wicks on them. A wick is where you just see a straight line. Remember, you have to understand how these candles are built. This is the body. And if we have a body that's like this one, so if we're going to look at this one here, then here's the opening. You can see that the price went all the way down to here. And then here's the close. So that's a red candle because we closed lower than we opened. But notice the wicks on these. This is all good. That means that the price is being pushed down and then somebody's buying it all the way back up again, or at least part of the way back up. And so far, today's candle looks pretty good in terms of a potential hammer / reversal candle. Now, here's how to look at something like this. Right now, we're seeing a daily downtrend. Daily downtrend is lower high, lower low, lower high, higher low slightly. So what I want to see from this is the bears are starting to get confident again. I mean, you can even see it in the title from Checkmate's video today, are we back in a bear market again? So this is where people are starting to doubt and say, oh no, here we go again. And that's fine. People can think what they want to, but all I care about is the levels here. If we see the price break above this level at about 45,000, what it's also going to do is break above this descending trend line. It's going to create a higher low along with a higher high, and that's going to show a change in polarity at the daily chart. And that will eventually start to, if it continues higher from there, that will start to pull up the weekly chart, and that will print that higher low that we're looking for. So again, it's a matter of going from the top down on the largest time frames and understanding what's going on at the largest time frames, going down one by one through the fractal time frames, monthly to weekly to daily. And then if we need to, we can go down to the 5-hour chart. You can see the 5-hour chart here shows the trend to the downside, and that will be reversed if we're able to print above there, above 45,000, prints a higher low, higher high combination, and a change in polarity. So sometimes you have to use a smaller time frame, sometimes the larger time frames. It all depends on what it is that you're looking to do, whether you're trying to determine context or signals. Now, if the price starts to undercut 41,000 or about 40,000, as we talked about, that's where that 61.8% fib is. And that's where we might start to see real weakness heading down to 29,000 again. Remember when I talked about completing the triangle or filling in the triangle. So this level does need to hold. This level does need to hold in the short run. And if it does close below there, then we're probably heading lower. If we see the price breaking above 45,000, probably heading higher, at least in the short term. Okay, pretty much the same pattern with Ethereum. It's showing the same kind of, and we're going to see this across the board as well too. Looking at different assets today, we have Uniswap coming really strong off the bottom, kind of the same pattern again. You're going to see the same type of pattern. Some are going to be stronger than others in terms of the recovery from the bottom. So Uniswap really strong today. Lots of other coins just sort of mixed market today. We have Aave coming strong off the bottom. Remember, look at the same type of pattern here. Here is Solana. Solana could be, remember, we've been trying to figure out, okay, where's the best place to get this? If it breaks above 150, same deal. we're going to see everything do the same kind of thing with a higher low, higher high combination. That's a change in polarity back up to the upside. Remember, we've been looking for value entries for this, maybe 100, could be as low as 80. Those are going to be a reach. These are, if you want to take the breakout entry, buying the breakout above 150 is a higher probability play because it's an actual breakout. So price basically confirming what you're looking for. One of the stronger coins lately has been Cosmos, which is Atom versus US dollar. This one's been really good. Looking at this from an energy perspective, we can see that the energy super high here on the daily chart. If we look at the weekly chart, what's going on here? Still an exhaustion, coming out of it pretty quickly though. Look at the volume that's been happening. Volume super high. Probably by Monday, we'll see this weekly energy coming out of exhaustion. So that would be a good thing to see as well. Quite honestly, all the charts kind of look exactly the same right now. Here is Phantom, and Phantom has been pretty good lately. This is a good consolidation. You can see how much energy this has got on the daily chart, and we'll also see that energy more than likely on the weekly chart as well too. Not really. It's just still an exhaustion here, but this is coming up quickly from there with this counter trend action, which makes it non-linear, thus making it consolidation and restorative energy going back into the chart. Once again, if we see the price breaking that descending trend line, putting in the higher low, higher high with a break above 140, there's Phantom. That's the entry for this one. That's it for this weekend's report. Again, we have to wait for a little bit of certainty to come back into things. And right now could go either way. Either we're going to break above all these descending trend lines, or we're going to see the price continue to plumb through the lows and through that 61.8% fib retracement. We'll see which way it goes, and I'll be back here on Monday.